Okay, so let me ask you a question. How long does it take you to put together an average wedding teaser? 5, 10, 20 hours? We're gonna cut that time in half with this workflow, and it's gonna blow your mind.
We are so excited to share our secrets with you today of how we edit wedding teasers super fast and efficiently without losing quality or emotion in your film. We are Steph and Justin with Toe Media, and we have filmed over 300 weddings together, and we are so excited to share with you our tips in this video today.
We're giving away all the secrets, guys. There's no secrets. We're not giving anything from you guys. We're putting it all in this video, and we're gonna get into it right now. Okay, so the first tip is, it's a big one. It's start building the timeline before you choose your music. And that's a huge one, right, Steph?
Yeah, so what we mean by this is I feel like typically wedding filmmakers will start their edit by first choosing the music and then laying all of the clips and the story elements on top of that. And this is actually the way that we used to do it. But I will tell you, it has completely changed the way we work when we flipped that around. So now, instead of picking the music first, listen carefully, we actually will place all of the clips that we choose that we want, possibly in the film. We will lay all of those out on the timeline first. And, we won't have like the timing and everything down, but we'll have all of those like story elements really already there. Mm-hmm. And then we will lay music on top of that after the fact. And the reason why this is efficiently is because it allows you to not spend time trying to go back and forth between, listening to the music, what shot should I pick here, mm-hmm. and all of that, especially for when it comes down to wedding teasers.
You're making the story itself dictate the music, not the other way around. You know what I mean? So you're kind of, once you go through those selects and the selects of selects, you're kind of just building it without any music, and it just makes time go so much faster. Because like Steph said, when you're stuck on that music, you're trying to hit the beats, you're trying to go with, you're letting the music dictate the story. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay, so tip number 2 is calling in layers. Selects and then selects of selects. Now let me break that down. So when you load a project, you have hours upon hours of footage, and it's very overwhelming to look at all of it. So you go through selects, you go through all the shots that you love, but then there's another step we do, which is called selects of selects.
Yeah, and so this is something that we love, and it's definitely within our workflow. So thankfully there are 2 of us, so we definitely tag team on this a lot of the times. So if I'm working through selects, I will then have Justin take a look at the selects, and he will then do his selects of selects. So what we mean by this is we're gonna actually jump over here onto our computer, and we're gonna show you a sequence of what this actually looks like. So we are gonna select our sequence here that is selects of selects. And we really like to label the areas of the day, so it's really easy to find these moments really, really fast. So I'm like, oh, if I need a bride and groom moment, here it is, I can go to it. If I need a shot from ceremony or reception, I can jump right to it. So all of our selects will go on this first layer right here. And then once we have that complete, we will then go through it again. One of us will go through it again, and then we will actually pull up moments that are our favorite that we want to absolutely make it to the film. And I think this is important because when you are going through a lot of footage, sometimes you are pulling stuff and culling and getting selects of certain things that you think that are pretty good, but you're not 100% sure if you want that in the film because you're still going through stuff, right? You don't know what other stuff that you have to go through, or especially if you have a second shooter, you're not sure what they got as well. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of pulling extra things because you're not sure what you have to work with. Mm-hmm. But once you get all of the great things, you then can go through it and be like, oh, you know what? I actually thought this shot was gonna be good, but Justin actually got a better shot. So we're gonna use that instead for the teaser. So this has been so helpful. It really helps to not make us feel so overwhelmed. And then that's basically what we're doing. We're bringing these selects of selects, we're bringing that onto our first rough cut, and we're just laying it out with no music. And it's really just such a seamless process. Yeah,
and like I said, once you start the project, you see hours of footage. And if you look on our timeline, we have 15 minutes. Going from 9, 10 hours of footage, that's too much, but maybe 5, 6, 7 hours of footage, going down to 15 minutes, way more manageable. And that's kind of what you want to do when you're putting together teasers.
Yep.
Okay, tip number 3 is pulling audio before choosing your music. Storytelling is one of the hardest things with editing, and thankfully now we have tools like ChatGPT to help tell the story. So what I like to do is take transcripts from each speech, whether it's the Father of the Bride, whether it's vows, and then put that in ChatGPT to help me weave that story together. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now on the laptop. So first thing you need to do is find where the Father of the Bride speech is, which I have here conveniently. So I'll match frame to that, and then right click and then reveal that in project. Once I find that, I right click here and then transcribe. So I've already done it, but if you hit here, it will basically transcribe the the speech. So it's already done. So what you have to do now to get this into ChatGPT is really simple. 3 dots, export, export to text file. I've done this already, but I'll just show you there. It says File of the Bride. So now we'll head over right to ChatGPT. We're gonna add that file. And then all you want to do as a prompt, and this could be customized however you want to do it, whatever fits your needs for your teaser, but we're going to say, pull the most heartfelt bites.
For a wedding teaser.
For a wedding teaser. And then you could say top 3, just to kind of get an idea of what it'll choose. And there you go. It'll start pulling, and then it'll give, other information that you didn't even know you needed, but it'll basically pull those bites. So you save a little bit of time. And again, when you're trying to get teasers out, these are time saving things.
Okay. So, but now that you have it, you have your select of what you want to use as far as audio. How do you then find that information?
So say you want to use this Mr. Alex Wright bite. So you copy Mr. Alex Wright, and then head right back over to Premiere, and then you can literally search for it here, and it'll jump right to the moment. You click on it, and
Mr. Alex Wright.
Okay, perfect. And then how do you pull that into your timeline?
so it's a little advanced, but you want to do it's called a reverse match frame, and to do that, it's a keyboard shortcut. It's Command F, and it'll jump right to that bite.
Mr. Alex Wright.
Next tip number 4, is avoid editing in a linear fashion.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite things. So especially when editing wedding teasers, you don't necessarily want the entire day to be in this linear order. What you're looking for in a teaser is exactly what it is called, a teaser. You're looking for strong emotion. You're looking for, tears or laughter and joy and smiles and cheering and just all of those really high elevated moments from the day. Mm-hmm. And so when you are starting to craft your timeline and all of the shots for the wedding teaser, it really allows you to be a little bit more creative and get more emotion out of your teaser if it actually is not linear. Mm-hmm. And so this just brings so much more emotion and energy to your wedding teaser. We have a little bit of a formula in terms of how we like to lay out all of the shots, because I know when it's non-linear, it's kind of how do I know to put shots where? Is it totally randomized? What we like to do on our teasers is we'll show a couple of details, then it will be the couple, a couple of details, and then maybe the ceremony, a couple of details, and the dance. So you're looking to have those detail moments in between. And those detail moments could be anything from scenic shots, venue shots, shots of the ceremony details, shots of the reception details. So you're really kind of incorporating all of these moments from the day with the details, and really just showing off that wedding and the design and the beauty and where they were getting married. Yeah. And it's just kind of this whole building thing of emotion.
Yeah, and you're building more of a cinematic experience. And we were just talking earlier, I'm kind of gravitating towards those big moments of the day. The first kiss, the first look, the parent dances, or you just ended the first dance. So you're kind of just pulling those moments as selects even, mm-hmm. and then you already kind of have your money moments to incorporate into the teaser. So mm-hmm. that's kind of how I look at it as well.
Exactly. And I will say that one thing we look for is not just to pull those important moments, because of course we want those big moments first dance, possibly the kiss at the ceremony, things like that. but like we want to go even a step further. So now that we have those moments, what other moments have so much more emotion in the day as well? So it can literally be like the bride's getting ready and the mom is crying, you know, it could be like the laughing shots with like the bridal party, you know, the clapping of the hands, reaction shots from the ceremony. It's all of those like high, you know, really high emotional moments that I feel like really take your film to the next level. So when you pull those like kind of key moments, take it a step further and like look for what else you can build upon that.
Okay, tip number 5, it's letting the visuals dictate your song choice. So that going back to the whole rough cut thing, you put together your rough cut, you watch it back, and then now you kind of have an idea of like what the vibe of the teaser is going to be. Is it high energy? Is it more romantic? Is it more funny? It really depends, obviously, but when you watch it back, you really have an idea of like what you're going to be searching for on music bank.
Yeah, especially with the sound bites then that you have already chosen. So you have the selects, you have the audio, and with the audio, that will really like help to dictate. So it's like if it's a funny sound bite, if it's something like that's a little bit more like romantic and sentimental where it's just like the vowels, you know, maybe you want a little bit slower paced type of thing. But I think with music for teasers, you are definitely looking for something with a build, with energy. So it could start slow, but I feel like you definitely always want that like that middle part where it just builds up and you know, like
I'm super guilty of finding a song before putting together the rough cut, and I'm really trying to force this song on, you know, this rough cut, and it doesn't fit. So this is one way to avoid that, and honestly just like kind of getting into like a rut, and then you're stuck with this song because you know you found the song first. So okay, so final tip, and this one really hits home for me because I was very guilty of this starting out, is limit rewatching your edit. So the amount of time I've wasted watching my edit back over and over and over again, it's probably gonna be hours and hours, because that's when you're in editor's block, this is what happens. You'll just watch the first 5 seconds, 10 seconds, say, and then you kind of are just stuck.
Yeah, so you're like rewatching, you're trying to think like what feels right to go next and this and that. And so that's why this workflow and this new way that we have been editing, like literally eliminates all of that. It eliminates the rewatching, because when you're putting together and pulling all those clips on the timeline without music, there's not really anything to watch, right? There's no music. Especially even when you add in that like audio piece, there's no music. And so I really encourage you to try and implement this workflow that we have in place. It has saved us so much time. I mean, we are able to get wedding teasers out literally within a few days of a wedding, where literally it used to take us, you know, a week or so, but like working on it nonstop because we were just rewatching it, second guessing ourselves, and just spending so much more time that's not really needed. And so, anything to add to that?
No, that you killed it. So actually, I have something I didn't tell Steph I was going to do. Is I'm going to give her a pop quiz with some questions from all our tips and see if she can answer them. Okay, first one. What mental shift helped you break free from editor's block and finishing edits faster?
I would definitely say not rewatching it.
Exactly.
Which is, I know we were like literally just talking about that, but that helps me by doing that. And also sometimes just like stepping away, going to do something else for a little bit, even if it needs to sit for the night and you come back to it. We were actually just working on a wedding teaser recently, and we're like, yep, we have the song, you know, it's like literally the last piece. We picked it. Let's step away from it. I woke up the next morning, watched it, and I'm like, nope, this is not the right song. Like for the clips and the visuals and the story I have on the timeline already. And so I actually then picked a new song. And so really stepping away and not just sitting there, like you want to be efficient when you're working. And I feel like, especially for us with like, you know, having kids and stuff and limited time, like when I sit down to work, I need to get work done and not like play around. So
great answer. Here's a fun one. So how do you balance efficiency with creativity, especially when you're editing dozens of weddings per year?
Yeah. So I would say the first thing is having a workflow and a template in place. And we have an amazing template in Premiere set up for all of the films. So when I bring it in, I'm not setting up anything or, you know, playing around. Like it's literally all there for me, all the folders, everything. We have a workflow of how we like to edit and get things done. I actually have like a timer where I like to spend a certain amount of time on like doing selects, on pulling audio, and that really helps me to like sit down and say, okay, I have a half hour to like get audio selects done. And it helps me be really fast and efficient. All right, I'm gonna flip it to you this time. I have a question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give to an editor who is really struggling putting teasers or highlights together?
Okay, that's a good one. So I would say definitely watch Tone Media's educational videos. They're really, really helpful. But no, in all seriousness, stick with it. Step away. Steph had a really good advice. Definitely step away. Give it a couple hours, even give it a day. Because when you're in editor's block, which I've been in a lot of doing wedding films and commercial work, stepping away is definitely a huge tip. But stop rewatching your edits. Even just looking at some people you look up to, watching some of their films. And then lastly, you were hired for a reason. That couple chose you for that reason to put together their film. You have amazing stuff. You can do the selects of the selects, things we were talking about, and you can put together. You'll be fine.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and leave in the comments below if you try out this new wedding teaser workflow. We would love to hear from you, and hopefully it saves you a ton of time this wedding season. I know it's a busy season for everyone coming up, and we are excited to see your film.